Under the same roof, we share the love. Embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. Tonight we have so much in store with you. We have none other than the criminal defense attorney, Calvin Johnson, who will be joining us tonight to talk about some explosive topics that are happening around the world. What do you think about this big, grand, what many call a war? Others call just a change of the regime in Iran. Well, all of these things and more. In fact, down in Texas, there's a shooting, a mass shooting. What is the world coming to? Some are trying to attach that to what's happening on the global scene. So let's bring on criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson. And guys, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe as you come in. We have so many people here on Twitter. Also X, same difference. But thank you so much. Let's bring on Calvin. Calvin, how are you?
Mel, how you doing, my brother?
All is well, all is well. Just can't believe in a matter of a week we have so much devastation happening in the world.
Man, we really do, man. There's a lot going on in the world today. We have a situation where we are at war, which that's a whole nother conversation within itself. And then we had a shooting down here in Texas. We have a lot of election stuff that's going on because the midterms are going to be Tuesday. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about, man, and there's a lot of things to be concerned about.
All right, so let's get started talking about this week. I attended the deposition for Hillary Clinton on Thursday, and then on Friday, I attended the deposition for Clinton. I couldn't believe both of them were standing right in front of me. It was so exciting. But I wanted to ask you, Bill Clinton felt like it was just harassment of his wife, Hillary. What do you think about that?
Well, I think what it comes down to, number one, it was great that they sat down to talk to that particular panel and talked and did so openly. And it wasn't like that they were trying to duck it at all, which is a good thing. I think some of it is an harassment of Hillary because she actually was somebody who at one point who ran against Donald Trump, who could have potentially ended up being the president of the United States. And so when you have that kind of stuff going on, it's just going to happen. But with that being said, I think some of it, maybe a little bit of it is that. But honestly, man, anytime that you show up on Flight Manifest for Jeffrey Epstein, somebody's going to want to ask you questions.
Yeah. Bill Clinton, well, let me start off with Hillary because she came the first day. Hillary did not want to be filmed. She didn't want any photos taken of her. And so we started off the day, we heard from the Republicans, and then we heard from the Democrats back to back, just giving us a landscape of how the day would transpire. Well, about halfway through the day, they came out and reported to us that one of the representatives had taken a picture of Hillary Clinton and sent it out to a podcaster by the name, I think his name is Benny Johnson. And that paused the proceeding. Are you shocked that they would take these measures for such a high stakes event?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And it's one of those things where you don't want somebody taking a narrative and making it seem like that these people have a deep connection to Jeffrey Epstein because they're sitting up being questioned. And they're saying, well, they'll probably say, well, Trump's not being questioned, but Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's being questioned. So people could try to take that narrative. So we could understand why they wouldn't want any pictures going out. I can definitely understand that. But with that being said, hey, it's America. You know, if you're showing up to testify, people's going to take your picture. But at the same time, I can understand their concerns.
Right. The second day, Bill Clinton came out and basically, actually, even before he spoke out, the representatives came out and they said basically Bill Clinton was answering all the questions In fact, when the lawyers had advised him to be quiet, they said that Bill Clinton would keep talking because he wanted to be very thorough with his answers.
Yes.
They also said that, and this is what they said to the reporters at large, because they didn't allow us inside the building, just outside. But they did state that he was shaking a lot because he's up in age, not that he was nervous about the questions.
Yeah.
But what do you think in regards to the fact that Bill Clinton was not hedging on his answers? He was really articulating what he really felt about the Epstein files.
I think that's a good sign for him because typically lawyers like myself, if you're being questioned or something like this, we're going to tell you to keep your answers short and sweet because you don't want to open up doors, trap doors that you could fall through. But if you don't have any trap doors to fall through, then you can be a little bit more forthcoming. If something is a strong suit for you, we typically tell clients to be able to talk a little longer. So what I figure is he wasn't worried about anything for the most part. So that's why he was willing to be so open, and I think that's a good thing for him. I think if you talk to any seasoned criminal defense attorney, they're going to tell you the same.
According to Bill Clinton, he said that this goes all the way back to 20 years ago. He didn't recall much about Epstein. He said he never saw Epstein doing anything nefarious. He never saw any young ladies around. And he said, had he seen any of this type of activity, he would have been the first person to turn Epstein over to the authorities. Do you believe that?
Some of it, but not all of it. He would have had to see some younger girls around Epstein. I don't know if he would have been willing to turn him in because once you develop some kind of relationship with somebody, you don't want to be explaining, oh, I was over there with him and this is what I saw. I don't know if he would have done all that. But with that, it's being said, he might not have seen Epstein do anything nefarious. But I think that to say that you didn't see young girls around Epstein, I don't think that that's 100% true. But with that being said, I think probably the truth is somewhere in the middle.
According to what they said on record, right? As far as record, the victims have been redacted in the Epstein files. One of the photos of Bill Clinton has him in some sort of hot tub. There's a female redacted. Does that tell us something about the files?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you look at that, that means you were around some younger woman in a hot tub. That does tell us a lot about the files. And the crazy part about it is, if they got Trump I mean, if they got Clinton in a hot tub picture, I imagine what pictures they got Trump in, because that's the thing that kind of concerns me. There was an issue came up this week that said there were a lot of missing pages in regards to some of the reports regarding allegations made against Trump. So I think that when you see these kinds of pictures, I think it's a telltale sign that others may have even more worse looking pictures than the ones that were released.
Okay, so Bill Clinton went on to express he felt that his wife should have never been questioned at all. And some reporters, boots on the ground from some of the large MSM mainstream media, they said that Melania Trump has been seen in various photos with Epstein, and she should have been questioned before Hillary Clinton. Do you agree with such thoughts?
I do, and that's the concern that I have. They want to point to the Clintons because they will always talk about that kind of thing before all of this came out. It's funny how they used to try to call there's a Democratic pedophile ring and all this other kind of stuff, and come to find out, Trump and a lot of his Republican friends, as well as some Democrats folks, were having long, deep relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. So it's pretty interesting with all of this happening.
Okay, Alan Beauty says he also said, and speaking of Bill Clinton, he also said that he did not have relations with Monica Lewinsky, shaking my head. Can we believe his words at this point?
I don't think we can believe his words. And the whole deal is, like I said, the truth probably is somewhere in the middle. I don't think he was completely honest about that. He would have had to see something or see some young girls around him. That's just my attitude.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. In regards to, because you had brought up Donald Trump, as of today, we haven't seen any evidence, although at the proceeding for the Clintons, the Democrats were saying that there was some sort of proof in the files of Donald Trump with someone underage. and that it had been removed from the files, but we haven't had anyone come forward and say that Donald Trump actually did something nefarious. So what do you think in regards to that? Do you think people are just trying to put the screws to him when he hasn't done anything wrong?
I don't think that. I think knowing Mr. Trump and how he is, if there was something in that file and anybody who worked for the Justice Department allowed that to be released, they would get fired or something would happen to them. I think he is so controlling and he's so much of a dictator that if there are things in that file, he probably has told the people who are the Department of Justice to make sure that he has redacted out as much as possible. Because I just don't see anybody in the Trump universe that works for him being willing to paint him in a negative light. And when I say paint him in a negative light, if there are things that exist that paint him in a negative light in those Epstein files, I don't think that they would have the courage to release him because they don't want to lose their jobs and they don't want to catch the fury of the public and the fury of Donald Trump for allowing Epstein file pictures to get out or Epstein file documents to get out on him.
Okay, AI Starseed says Trump is the greatest U.S. president ever.
Hey, once again, like I try to tell people, people who support him, you have every right to support him. But I think that's a little myopic. I think it's one of those things where I think that for him being for the people that voted for him, he's a very well liked figure for them. But when you look at it on a surface level and not just on a balance level, I'm not really impressed with him because he does not tell the truth a lot. He lies a lot based on what we know and what we see. And the fact that he doesn't pay his bills and his debts. As a man, I just cannot support somebody who doesn't pay their debts and who kind of, I know, lies from time to time and sometimes from time to time to time. So that's the concern that I have with him, even though there may be some things, policies that some Americans feel like, hey, great that he's doing A and B and C. But the fact that I don't think that he has the integrity as well as the, I would say, the temperament to be president, that is kind of what's most concerning about me.
Okay, so let me ask you this. In regards to Nicolas Maduro, as I told you, I attended his trial or his hearing along with his wife, Celia Flores. Donald Trump gave him a stern warning and told him, don't keep messing around. Maduro dug in his heels. Donald
Mhm.
Trump had the military go in and take him out, right? Bring him to
Yes.
New York. We
Hmm.
also saw the president of Colombia. He was pushing back on Donald Trump. Trump told him to knock it off. He came to his senses and he came and met with Donald Trump and was sitting there in the White House making a deal. Now
Hmm.
we see the supreme leader of Iran was warned firmly. The people of Iran were warned firmly, and they learned the hard way. Is
Hmm.
Donald Trump teaching the world a lesson about strong leadership?
I think in certain situations it has definitely worked. But I think that each situation is going to be different. You can go into Venezuela and get Maduro. You can go into Colombia and kind of push the gas on him because that relationship is a little better and it's a little different. But man, when you go to the Middle East and you're dealing with the Muslim population there, you're dealing with the Arab people there, it's another ball game. You're not just going to be able to go in 3 or 4 days, take a leader out, and it'd be over. Um, those folks are different. I would always tell people that in a regular war, you will tell another soldier, "I'll kill you," and then you'll say, "I'll kill you." But the soldiers from the Arab nations will say, when you say, I'll kill you," they'll say, "No, I'll kill both of us." You're dealing with a whole nother monster. When a guy's basically saying, I'm big and bad, and I'm gonna kill you," and then they're like, "Nah, I'll kill both of us." So he's happy to do it. Then you're like, "Hold up, wait a minute." let's not be irrational. And see, those are the types of things that Mr. Trump needs to seriously think about. Somebody had a rumor that said that when he killed the Ayatollah, that he thought that the people of Iran would quickly celebrate it and they would liberate themselves and the war would be over. And I think he completely mismanaged and misthought that. Because if you see right now of the hell that's being unleashed in the Middle East, he had a huge miscalculation.
Okay, so in regards to this whole war that's happening, Iran is actually saying that the president broke foreign policy. At least that's what they're saying from the standpoint of the United Nations. Do you
Mhm.
think they have a leg to stand on, being that they were duly warned?
I don't know if he broke policy when it comes to the United Nations. You can go in and do kind of what you did. I just felt like they probably thought that they were going to get some more time, that there were going to be more conversations, or that America would never attack them. I think that that's not going to get him any resolve. But I just think, once again, I think this move is extremely foolish because it's going to destabilize the whole region in the Middle East. But I don't think them complaining about it or going to UN, I don't think that's going to get them anything.
Okay, what do you think about the strategy of Iran hitting all of these other countries in connection with the United States based military bases?
I think it's smart. Unfortunately, of course, I'm an American and I don't want any of our military bases hit. But if I'm Iran, I'm probably going to do the same thing. Because what you want to do is you want to destroy relationships that America has with Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Yemen, Oman, those other areas that are over there, Saudi Arabia, those areas over there, Bahrain. You want to make sure that they feel the pain of America striking them, that other places feel that pain. And what's going to happen is those areas who got people killed and hurt, they're going to be looking at America like, wait a minute, you didn't consult us on this. You did this on your own. And now there are consequences being rained down on us without you even having a discussion with us. I think is about as smart as they can get because they don't have the long range capabilities to shoot a missile at America. So what are they going to do? They're going to attack America's interests in other countries, and that should be expected.
Okay, in regards to what's happening, it's said that Barack Obama gave the Iranians money and Donald Trump has given them heavy artillery raining down from the heavens. What do you think about the comparison?
I don't know if there's truth in the Obama giving them money. I think those factions over there that are fighting against other factions, I think that may have been the issue there. But I heard what people are saying, but there's going to be a cost associated with attacking those people, and there's going to be a price associated with that region. Because when we get ready to move on to another subject, we're going to talk about what happened in Austin, where a man came in and basically, killed or shot up that area, or did something in one of those places here in Austin, Texas, and it was because of the attack of Iran. So I think there are going to be a lot of associated costs, and I think we need to be careful about that. When you're talking about raining down bombs on people, we're starting to lose U.S. soldiers' lives now, so we need to be deeply concerned about going to war right now.
Now, they put out a broad warning here in New York City of the danger and peril that we might be facing because of what's happening abroad. And also, they've extended that throughout the entire United States. Do you think this action that happened down in Austin, Texas, is a direct effect of what happened out there in Iran?
Definitely, it is. I've heard that they keep sleeper cells in America, so we should all be on high alert because those folks think that when they die in honor of their country and they do a terrorist attack, that they go to heaven, and they're willing to go to heaven to be able to avenge something that's happened in their homeland to their people. And so we should all be on high alert of the sleeper cells that exist in this country, or the homegrown dangers of American citizens who are still tied to the Middle East and some of the stuff that they could do. So I think we all need to be on high alert.
Okay, now getting back to the Epstein files, Boricua says anybody releases those pictures would disappear. Talking about of Donald Trump and Epstein. What do you think about that?
I agree with that. Anybody who releases those pictures would either disappear, something would happen to them, and whoever releases those pictures would be fired. And they probably needed to watch their back because Trump does not want to be humiliated by any picture being released of him with Epstein or any of those Epstein issues.
Okay, Bill Clinton, along with Hillary Clinton, also various reporters that attended the deposition, said they felt like Donald Trump and his wife both should sit for depositions. What are your thoughts in regards to that?
I think both should. If the Clintons sat down and they had pictures or being around Mr. Epstein, then the president and his wife should sit down as well because they were around and have pictures with Epstein.
Okay, very good. Stanley, thank you for being here as well. Stanley says those files have been around many years. If there was any there, the Democrats would have exposed it and prosecuted, no doubt about it.
Well, I think the problem that you have with those files is I think they're both Democrats and Republicans in those files. And I think that one reason why those things did not get released is because you have a Bill Clinton in pictures, you have a Donald Trump in pictures, you have a number of other leaders and famous people in pictures. And I think the reason why those things were not released then is because people didn't want to ruffle feathers.
Okay, we'd like to ask everybody in the attendance to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Calvin, can you take a moment and tell everyone what you do?
My name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I'm a 24-year practicing attorney. I do state, local, and federal criminal defense. I've been doing this, like I said, for 24 years. I'm a former city council candidate. I also hold 2 degrees, a double major in political science and history from Howard Payne University in Brownwood, Texas, and I hold a law degree from St. Mary's University School of Law. So I am been involved in politics, history, and law for the last, even through high school. I went through a law magnet high school. So for the last almost 40 years, I've been involved in the history, politics, and the law. And so that's why we do this show. We want to educate you on all 3.
Okay, thank you very much. Nicely said. PG says, what do you believe in Trump's doctrine, pay to play? Pay
I
a
don't
lot.
like I don't like that because it creates situations where maybe he can benefit financially from some of the decisions he is making. And like even the decision like to go to war, there are going to be real losses of life because of what he just did. It's not going to be something that's simple. And that's why I have a huge level of concern about him going to war at this point. It's not the best thing.
Do you think it was because of the security of the American people at large?
No, I really don't. I think this is to try to teach Iran a lesson. I think it is to be able to, I feel like it's a distraction to what's going on at Epstein. And I also feel like it's a situation where he thinks that he may be able to use a war to say, look what I did. I took out the Ayatollah. There's a strong party, strong president, strong Republican Party. I think he did it for other reasons, to be honest with you.
Okay, all right. PG says the so-called negotiations were a farce.
They were. I think that they were. And I think we should, like I said, really, really be concerned. I mean, he kind of unilaterally, along with Netanyahu, decided that they were going to go to war with Iran without telling anybody else. And I even heard that his defense department was concerned about his understanding about how long it would take in a conflict with Iran.
Based on the wars that the Americans have pursued in the past, Iraq, all these other different places, do you think they can really win a war with Iran?
It's funny because winning a war, we have the capability to destroy Iran. But I think that with the way that they are, they're fighting for the death or fighting for their existence. And I think you got to be careful there. and you can't go as hard as you want to go because some of the surrounding countries are your allies and you want them to continue to be your allies. But if they see you annihilate a place like Iran, they start to question how smart it is to do business with you and to have relationships with you.
Okay. The supreme leader that they took out, he was next to God. Unlike a president like Nicolas Maduro that sits in the top seat, this man was next to God himself. Do you think we could ever get beyond that with the Iranian people?
No, you have to understand that they're not like most people over here. Like I give you an example, and I'm not trying to throw shots at people watching our show. Somebody said, Donald Trump's the best president ever. They're not intrigued by Mr. Trump like that. They're not um, cult like supporters of his. They look at things from a realistic point of view. Somebody who has the same blood that they have, somebody who they revere and they look up to, you took out. So it's not a situation where that's going to be a positive look for them. And we need to be concerned and start thinking about that.
Okay, Shadow Pop says Trump is just using the power of America and we will pay for this when Trump leave office. What do you say?
We're going to pay for it before Trump leaves office.
Really, you think so?
Definitely. Something's going to happen. This will
What
not
is
go down like this.
what could that look like here in the United States?
I think there's going to be some kind of terrorist attack coming soon. I just don't. I think those people think ahead. And like I said before, they're willing to die. And like I told you before, it's a situation where if you say in a war, I'm going to kill you, their response is, no, I'm going to kill both of us. You're dealing with a different kind of game. You're dealing with a different kind of animal. And you got to be extremely careful when you're dealing with somebody like that. And I think we're going to pay for that. I want you to think about this. The Ayatollah, man, they're not going to be friendly. I mean, something's going to happen. They're not going to let that just go.
Let me ask you a question. If Donald Trump delivers on the economy, if he's a man of his word, an open book, would you really care about his moral values, his
I,
personal life?
I wouldn't really care about his personal life as much. But with that being said, I just think when he talks to us, I don't think he's being honest when he tells us certain things, like when the citizens were shot in Minnesota. I just think looking back some of the press conferences and how he handled himself, and I just felt like he was being dishonest to us. It's more than just his private life morality; it's his public not telling of the truth. And in a sense, it's his private not paying his bills. And when I say that, a man who doesn't pay his bills or attempt to pay back what he owes, I can't really rock with him. I've always been like that. So if I see you borrow some money from somebody and be unwilling to pay it back, I'm not going to let you get close enough to do it to me. And I just think there's a certain amount of honor that goes with that. And I just, I'm just not a fan of his, because even if he delivers on some of that, I would always be concerned that he wasn't being honest about that, and that at the turn of a switch, he could go back and start being the way he was.
Okay, very good. Alan Beauty says reality is that most of the politicians don't have integrity. Trump is just bold enough to not play in our faces.
There's a lot of politicians that don't have the integrity, but I just think that Trump is different because he has so much power. When you are president of a country, and like America, who is one of the most powerful nations in history, and it currently is probably the most powerful country in the world, I have great concerns about um, those particular things,
Okay, all right. Alan Beauty says, I really hope Trump getting Maduro was a chess move prior to hitting Iran and sabotaging our oil. I think he anticipated the fallout and said as much on Friday's speech.
I just don't know about that. Uh, I just think that he wanted to go in and try to create a situation where he was going to get paid and get the money, and take the oil from Venezuela. I think he wanted to show how powerful he was, and that's concern I have about that one.
Okay. Remain confident says Iran didn't try to stop enslavement in America, neither did Israel.
True. So at the end of the day, I mean, and that's the other thing people got to understand. You got to be careful, and America needs to be careful because any other race of people, they consider America a white nation. And when you start going after their particular people, other minority groups are going to say, oh, we're going to be next, or they're going to go with, you're going to be next because of what happened. And you got to be highly concerned about that happening.
Okay. I want to show you this video. We're going to switch up a little bit and get your viewpoint here.
Legal news just in that controversial federal indictment of Don Lemon, another independent journalist, and several participants in an anti-ICE protest at a church in Minnesota last month. The DOJ has put together a superseding indictment modifying this case. MS Now legal affairs reporter Fallon Gallagher is here with us. What are the details, Fallon?
Yeah, Anna, we have very few details at this point because this indictment remains under seal, but we know that the DOJ has to return a new superseding indictment in the case involving Don Lemon because the DOJ filed a motion asking the judge to unseal that. So we have yet to see the contents of this indictment, so we can't speak specifically to how it's changed yet, but we have a few hints. We can see online that the docket has changed, the case name has changed from U.S. v. Levy Armstrong, of course, that first co-defendant.
Can you help us understand what's happening here?
What they're probably trying to do is change up the indictment, change the wording, change the particular charge, so that they can try to prove it up based on what federal law is in this particular situation. Don Lemon needed to be extremely careful because when you go into a religious institution like this and you behave like that and they want you to leave and you don't leave, it could have very serious ramifications. And people will try to say, well, it's Don Lemon. They're prosecuting him because of that. I just don't believe in going into people's religious institutions and doing this kind of stuff because I think you could start a trend. And what if it's your religious institution that they go into? And it's not even that they went in there. It's just like when you go in there and they tell you you're no longer welcome, you need to leave, and that didn't happen. So that's the concern I have about this. And as far as the way that they changed the indictment, they're probably trying to change it to be able to successfully charge him with federal crime that will stick if he goes to trial.
Okay. When I went to pick up my press pass, one of the things they tell you is that you can't go on private property. And I asked them specifically, can you go into a church? And they said no. Does the First Amendment, when it comes to the freedom of religion, is that more prominent than freedom of press, or would they be looked at as equal?
I think they're equal, but in a sense, the religion is a little different because a lot of the religious institutions will allow you to walk in. So that's the little nuance there. But I think that freedom of religion is going to be protected. Freedom of worship is going to be protected. And I think for the most part, that may be even more important to some folks than freedom of actual speech. And I think that with Mr. Lemon going in and doing what he did, I don't think that was a smart move. I understand his concerns. I understand that he was upset that particular pastor was involved with ICE or whatnot, but I just don't think that was a smart move legally.
A lot of people are shocked that the act was put forth for the KKK and now it's being moved on with Don Lemon. What are your thoughts on that?
That's extremely interesting because they used to go in and they would burn crosses. They would burn crosses in front of churches. They didn't care. I mean, you have to really think about this too as well. In Alabama, those 9 little girls were bombed at a school and, or bombed at a church, if I'm correct. So you got to be extremely careful when you start talking about going in and affecting somebody's worship. And the KKK used to do it all the time. But I think it was ironic that they're using Mr. Lemon's situation to as an analogy to that.
Okay, very good. Let's get back to this video here.
in the case to U.S. v. Sealed. And so that implies that there may be a number of new co-defendants who have been arrested in connection to that church protest who are added to this case. We don't know if the charges have changed, but we would imagine that this case should be unsealed very soon. What's interesting here is that our affiliate CARE in Minneapolis is reporting that 9 new people have been arrested in connection to that church protest. So it could be that they're adding those 9 new defendants to this case. But at this point, we don't know. What's really notable here, though, is that this new superseding indictment comes after the judge denied the government's request to make this a complex case because there were so many co-defendants. There are 9 original defendants in this case. So if they add 9 new additional defendants, that makes this very thorny.
Okay, you'll keep us posted. Thank you for bringing us that breaking news.
A lot of people are saying they're bringing up the Capitol and how these individuals basically stormed into the Capitol. The President of the United States pardoned these individuals. Do you think that what happened here with the church, that is equal or greater than what occurred with the Capitol?
I think what occurred at the Capitol was more serious because those people were going in there and they were trying to do some harm to some folks. Now, the church protests, you have people going in and, of course, are protesting and they're being very disrespectful. But I think a lot of those protesters, if they had been able to get into the Capitol, they were threatened to kill the vice president. They sat at Nancy Pelosi's desk and said all kind of vile things about her. And I just think that was a bigger situation than what happened at that church, because at least there was nothing upon which you were threatening people to kill them. In that particular situation, there was a lady who was going to climb through a window and felt like that she had the right to climb through a window. She ended up getting shot by one of the Capitol Police. And so when you think about that, as opposed to what happened at that church, they're not even close.
Okay, can you address the comment that's presented?
The guy from Texas is an Iranian. He was from Sudan or something. So this guy suggesting never do anything to Muslim countries or regimes. It's not that I'm trying to say you don't do anything against Muslim countries or regimes. There are going to be situations where you do that. But I think that those things need to be well thought out. I think you do need to understand that when you do something to one of the Muslim countries because of their faith, you're going to have other ones that are not going to be okay with that. I also think that some of the relationships we have in the Middle East are going to be greatly affected because of what Trump and Netanyahu did. And I think there's a lot of stuff to think about when you do that. I'm not saying don't ever attack Muslim countries. There's times when you got to do what you got to do. But this situation, I don't think at this time was warranted. I don't think he should be doing this right now. We got to be America first, right? This is what they say, America first. And right now, I think that we need our resources to try to fix the inside of our country before we go stepping in outside business.
Okay, AI Starseed says it was the Democrats that brought the sleeper cells to this country.
But
Illegal immigration.
It's one of those things where, hey, I get what you're trying to say, but those are the kind of things that just, I don't understand how you make those kinds of comments. Now, I'm going to tell you, I would have supported being stronger at the border and not letting people in, like walk over like they were doing it. But I think it's one of those things where you got to be careful when you start talking like that, because at the end of the day, if the Republicans have control of all 3 houses, while they haven't been able to pass any immigration reform to deal with some of these folks that's crossing the borders, I mean, I think there's enough responsibility for the Democrats and the Republicans to go around.
Okay, very good. Pretty Ting says they are at war with Trump, not the American people. Mar-a-Lago, Mar-a-Lago, Mar-a-Lago.
I don't know. I think, they were screaming, from what I hear, they were screaming death to America. I think they look at Trump as us because we allowed this to happen, because Trump is the president and he went over and did whatever he did to them. So I don't know about that. We'll see.
Okay, Skippy says Trump ran on releasing the files.
He did run on releasing the files. And what did he do? He wanted to hold on to him. He didn't want to release him. He threatened Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and he took Ghislaine Maxwell from a full lockdown and put her in a minimum security prison. Once again, he just did not tell the truth. And we got to stop dodging around it. He said he was going to release the Epstein files. He's kept them from being released. And they are released. You can tell it's not all of them. And he actually made things for Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator in chief, a lot easier.
Okay, PJ says our president will start a war with Iran. He's ineffective and does not have the ability to negotiate, Trump once said about Obama.
And that's exactly what people are calling out. People were saying that Trump said that Obama was going to get us in a war in the Middle East, and that he would have more ability to be able to negotiate. And right now, he's done exactly what he accused Barack Obama of having or was going to do.
Okay, W12 says, so true. We should hide in a hole and hope they leave us alone.
I don't know about howling the hole and hoping they leave us alone, but there's going to be a cost to America and its interests. There's going to be a loss of American lives and soldiers that are going to be killed and people that are protecting us and serving our country. We're going to suffer some losses based on what happened. And you can't kill an Ayatollah and think that they're just going to go away and sit down. That's not going to happen.
Okay, there's a message for you in the chat there.
This guy becoming more unhinged. Yeah, he is unhinged. He's becoming more unhinged. And, some people will come on and say, oh, you're attacking Trump. You don't like Trump. Man, I don't like what he's doing. It's not whether I like him or not. I don't care. I'm not in my feelings about another man. I mean, if he said something about me, if he said something about my people, I really don't worry about it because I don't really respect his opinion when it comes to what he thinks about Black people and calling former presidents apes and all this other stuff. I don't care about that. I care about what he's doing because there's going to be cost associated with what you do. And a lot of us are going to be ones that pay it. He's a billionaire. He's never going to fight anybody. He's a draft dodger. He's not going to be the one who's losing his life, nor will his family members be losing their lives. So those are the things that I get concerned about, and those are the ways that I judge him.
Okay, can you address what Alan Beauty says to you?
Impressive, Calvin. Nice to always have you and hear your perspective. Thank you, Alan Beauty. We appreciate you. Keep rocking out with us. And I'm going to tell the truth. There have been times where some people were saying that I wasn't going hard enough on Trump. Well, I will go hard on him when needed. When he does something I think is good, I'll say it. Do I like the way he does things? No. But when he does something good, I'll say it. But right now, was that Lisa Page 67 says, yes, a distraction and a power grab. I agree with her. It is a distraction, it's a power grab, and we are concerned.
Okay, very good. W12 says, and people are still talking about the Epstein files. Everything is a distraction. Life needs to shut down, and otherwise it will distract us. What do you say?
Well, I understand what they're saying, but at the end of the day, the Epstein files are not a distraction. The way I look at those is, listen, somebody was actually trafficking kids, man, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. Prince, was it Edward? What's his name? Is actually in trial. Prince Andrew is actually got arrested. A royal got arrested for the connections to Epstein and situations with young girls. It's a shame. It's one of those things where, that's very serious stuff. And the Epstein files are not a distraction, man. We're talking about young ladies get taken advantage of by grown men, wealthy grown men, and that's not a distraction at all.
Do you think, based on all the information that you've taken in, do you think that the American people are really concerned about the Epstein files and Donald Trump and some of the big names?
I think that they are. Because it's not just a situation where some grown-up was affected. We're talking about children. You're talking about children whose lives, as survivors of sexual assault or sexual misbehavior, we're talking about children's lives who are going to become women, and young women are going to be scarred for their lives. And we also want to, as a country, to protect young children. So you don't want anybody to ever go out and do what Mr. Trump has done allegedly, or some of the people in the Epstein files allegedly. So that's why you want to be extremely careful.
W12 says Iranian people in Iran are saying, "Thank you, Trump." What do you say about that?
No, they're saying death to America. We were watching the news today. I mean, it's right there in our faces. They're not saying thank you, Mr. Trump. They're saying death to America. And you got to understand they're going to trust their own way before they ever trust us.
All right. Eric says, "Kiss your generational wealth goodbye." Do you think these actions is going to destroy generational wealth?
I think it is. It's going to really hurt us financially. I think there's going to be a high price to pay. And we better get ready and strap up, because some of the instability in the Middle East is going to eventually come to affect us in America.
Okay. Judith, thank you so much. Judith says Trump converted to Judaism when last in office and he keeps it mum.
I don't know about that. We should see. I don't know. I don't want to put that on him.
Okay. The deep fake has a comment for you there.
I agree with Attorney Johnson. And listen, y'all, I'm just being straight up with y'all. You know, we try to play it down the middle. Some people will come on and criticize Trump because maybe he's done some stuff to people of color that he definitely should not do. And I agree with that he has done those things. But with that being said, I never expected him to do what's in our best interest, as well as I never expected any validation from him, or neither wanted it. I get concerned that he's doing things that are hurting us, hurting my family, hurting people that are trying to get to where I'm at in life. Those are the concerns I have, and I appreciate y'all rocking out with us, and then understanding that we're gonna have a real conversation. This ain't just gonna be a Trump bashing situation. This is gonna be a situation where he does something good. I'm gonna say it. Like he pardoned Nate Newton, one of the Dallas Cowboy football players who I know personally, and took his drug conviction off and a few other people's convictions off. Hey, he did a great job doing that. Nate's a whole another person now. But with that being said, when he does something bad, I'm going to say it. And I'm not going to be one of these cult-like sycophants that just love everything he does.
We've seen various cases where Donald Trump has stood up for people in other countries. We saw it with the Christians out in Africa. He dropped a few bombs saying, "Hey, you got to leave them alone." Venezuela, people were having their lives taken. Donald Trump stepped in. And also now we're seeing in Iran, people were scheduled to be executed. Donald Trump said, "You better not do it." And then he retaliated with such strong action. Does it show that he cares about people, or do you think it's something different?
I think it's something different, because I think that you got to be careful when you go into other nations telling them what to do and how to do it in their country. Number one. Number two, I just think he does it for attention. I think he does it to be able to get some positive praise. I think somebody with his personality coming off the State of the Union and getting highly criticized from the left and even from some on the right, somebody like that who his personality and his wanting to be loved is kind of delicate when you say you don't like him, but not show him the love in a big, huge event in front of the world. I think he will go and do something to try to make you like him. And that's where the scary part is for a leader like Donald Trump.
Okay, PG says, will he try to take control of the midterms? How can Dems stop him?
I think he will try to take control of the midterms. It wouldn't surprise me if he tried to not have elections. And I've said this to several people. They're like, well, I can't wait till we get the vote in the midterms and we can vote 2 years later to try to vote them out. And I was like, well, you better hope you can get the vote. You should have hoped that there's going to be a vote. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And the reason why I say that is because he's going to try to justify a lot of stuff he's doing. He's going to try to justify not counting certain ballots in certain states. And I want y'all to think about this, right? What's going to happen when a president, let's say, loses a state by 300 votes, and it's a red governor state? What's going to happen? He's going to make that phone call to that governor. Do you think that governor is going to be strong enough to say, no, the election, you lost fair and square, or you don't think that, or you think that governor's going to say, you know what, let's go take a look at this. I think we found 400 votes that are invalid. President Trump gets to nominate, he's going to get the electoral votes. I'm telling you right now, because Congress can't stand up to him, I don't think governors are going to stand up to him. That's going to be the first sign of something going really, really bad. There's no guarantees that free and fair elections will continue to happen in America.
Okay. Eric says only country democracy without universal health care. America is 25 years behind. What do you say?
I agree. I agree 100%.
Okay. All right. Dirty Money says Israel wasn't even a country during the American slavery.
Their people were there, and they didn't do anything to stop it from happening to us. But once again, I think there are other situations that caused us to be enslaved, not just them. There were a lot of factors that caused that. But with that being said, I think our people got to start realizing that they must not rely on other people to do them right before they do right to themselves. And I just think that's just my opinion when it comes to that.
Okay. Caprello says Don Lemon needs 4 years minimum behind bars.
I mean, that's funny because the same person probably isn't saying that anybody that attacked the Capitol on January 6th were they should get that much time. That's the kind of thing that I talk about. You want Don Lemon to get 4 years, but people who stormed the Capitol who wanted to kill people, y'all want to pardon them, and I just think that's just disingenuous.
Okay. The scroll says America has spent trillions on Israel but won't pay black Americans reparations. What are your thoughts?
True, true, and the deal is, and I try to tell people I'm not against reparations, but I just don't think that realistically happening. We need to realize that that's not going to happen. I'm not against reparations, don't get me wrong. But with that being said, I don't think it's realistic to ever think that that's going to happen.
Okay. We've had this discussion with a few people that have come on the channel, and many people are having this big uh, argument in regards to people from the islands, let's say Jamaica, Haiti, that they should not receive reparations if they were to come because they're not foundational black Americans. What are your thoughts on that subject?
That's a tricky one because when it comes to our country paying them reparations, I think is different because you have the Brits that did some things in the Caribbean, you had the Dutch, you had the French. And I think that those islands or those countries, not America, are more responsible for the slave trade to those particular people. I think America is more responsible to the slave trade of foundational Black Americans. And so that's kind of where I land on that. That's what I believe.
Okay. Another says this is a political persecution. Call it what it is. What a country.
Mm. It just is. It just is. That is, it's the truth. When you look at this situation, that's clearly what it is. And that's America. We need to quit acting like, and I hate to close my eyes and just think about this. We need to quit acting like that's not happening.
Okay. All right. So, as you know, last week I was out in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, with Nancy Guthrie trying to figure out what was happening with that case. Are you shocked that that case appears to be going cold?
I'm not shocked because they say the reason why they have this show called The First 48, because typically you'll know something, you'll have a lot of leads. In most cases, it'll solved within the first 48 hours. The longer it gets away from that 48-hour range, things go cold, evidence can be destroyed, people can be further away, people can clean stuff up. So the longer it get past that 48 hours, you're in trouble. And we're talking weeks at this point, going on months. And that's just going to be a really of high concern that they will ever catch anybody or figure out what happened with her. And then the livelihood of her is still being alive uh, this far away from the offense date, being she's older. I mean, it would be really rough to keep somebody alive, keep them guarded, and all of that stuff when that happens, when they get farther away from the actual offense date.
The sheriff in this case came forward and said that the children, the family members, had been cleared. Have you seen that a lot in the profession?
I have. Sometimes you want to clear the family members so you can get on to the other suspects. Typically, usually they won't say anything, but I think sometimes you have to say something because if some family members are being accused, you can make their life very hard while they're trying to grieve their loved one. You got people suspect them of doing stuff. So sometimes you have to come out and say that. But I think it kind of depends on the situation.
Okay, very good. The authorities had allegedly picked up the son in law's car, and I believe even the daughter, or perhaps at least the car, the last car she rode in. And to my knowledge, they still have that car after all these days. Is that
Mhm.
telling us something, or you think that's just procedure?
I think it's just procedure. They try to go over their car with a fine tooth comb to make sure if they can find any semblances of her, any DNA of her, anything that could identify her. I think it's smart to go over those cars like that. And it just takes a while.
Right. This week, the authorities left, I believe it was Friday night or Thursday night.
Mhm.
Before they left, they installed the camera system. Is this pretty normal, you would say, in these particular high crime cases?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is normal.
Okay. Many people still, when you look online, they still feel like it was an inside job of some sorts. How do you think the detectives were fair in trying to determine this case? You think it's going to be something that go on for a long time, or you think it sometimes they solve this rather quickly?
Sometimes they solve it quickly, but it could have been an inside job. I mean, you have to really think about there's a lot of thought that's going to go into kidnapping somebody, asking for ransom, doing it in Bitcoin. I mean, it takes a lot of moving parts to make that happen, or to be able to just kidnap her. So I think they may have thought it was an inside job, and it may well be. And sometimes things are solved quick, but in this situation, it's not, and it's really started to drive on.
Okay. Do you think it's possible that the individual on camera that approaches the house, that that person is just a ploy of some sort, and that perhaps even someone more close to the family could have came in behind him?
I don't know. That's a tough one. It could be either or. But him approaching that camera, I don't know if he would approach that camera. I think there's ways to try to disable those things. I think if he was being super careful, I don't think he would have wanted to have his face on there. He could be a decoy, but that's something that we need to think about and try to address.
Okay. All right. Very good. Simon, getting back to the comments, says Obama dropped 26,000 bombs in 7 countries his last year in office alone.
I wonder where he's getting that information from. I would like you to be able to verify that and tell us which countries he dropped the bombs on. But I haven't heard that, and I would want to know what bombs were dropped where. If you can prove that to us, then please come back with the information.
Okay, guys, take a moment, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Hitting the like button really helps us to promote the channel. Also, turn on your notifications so that when we do go live, you can get the notification indeed. Calvin, could you take a moment and tell the new people here what you do?
My name is Attorney Calvin E. Johnson. I am a practicing criminal defense attorney for the last 24 years. I do state, federal, and local criminal defense. And I hold a degree from Howard Payne University, double major, political science and history. I also went to the law school. I went to the high school for public services, government and law in high school. And for my law school, I have a Juris Doctorate from St. Mary's University School of Law. So I have been dealing with law, politics, and history ever since I was about 13 years old, all the way to now, which is about 40 years. So I have a lot of knowledge in these areas, and we try to bring the weekly legal review to you every single week and share our thoughts. So keep rocking with us and enjoy us.
You were able to basically predict how much time Sean Diddy Combs would get by 1 month. 1 month. How in the world were you able to do that?
It's because I've been practicing law all of this time. You know, we had a guy come on, Sean G, telling me that he was going to get 24 months and 6 months of supervision and all of that stuff. Man, lawyers go, you got to go and get a college degree. You got to get a law degree. You got to take the LSAT to get into law school. You have to take the bar exam. which is a culmination of 3 years of information, and you have to pass the test to be able to practice law. You have somebody like myself who has done all of that and practiced 24 years. Somebody who comes on the internet and says, I've been in the system before, I did some time, so I know as much as you. That's foolish. And so when we come on shows like this, the Weekly Legal Review, Mel found me. Mel has me come on the show with him, and we do this together because Mel respects my knowledge and my experience in being able to be a criminal defense attorney. The reason why I was able to basically guess how much time he was going to get, it was based on my experiences of being a practicing criminal attorney for the last 24 years, doing federal cases, and the fact that Mel was going to trial every day. So Mel was giving me information about what was going on in the trial, mannerisms, the way that the judge did things, the way Diddy them did things, the way that the judge talked when he talked to Mr. Combs and the defense team and the prosecution. And with all that information based on all my experience, I guess between 51 and 63 months, and he got 50 months. But that's kind of what I guessed.
Okay, very good. That's awesome. Getting back to Don Lemon, Alan Beauty says that Lemon pushed the envelope with going into the church. I also think that he should have held off on the interviews until after the case. What do you think about that?
He probably should have held off on the interviews. He should have never went into that church like that. Y'all can say what you want to say. I'm not going to go in somebody's place of worship because I don't want them coming in mine. Because if you coming in our church acting a fool, something's probably going to happen to you. But with that being said, I don't believe in going to people's place of worship and kicking up that kind of dust. To me, that's a line you don't cross. And I don't think it was very smart for Mr. Lemon to do what he did that day.
Dirty Money says that they violated the FACE Act. I don't know if you heard that this week. I think they just arrested another 30 people. They're adding to the tally. But violating the FACE Act, could you tell us if that's, you think they're looking at some serious time?
What do you mean the FACE Act? What was who violated the FACE Act?
Don Lemon by going into the church.
He may have, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. And that's the thing. You cannot do that. When you go into the churches, and especially if it's a situation where you went in and let's say they asked you to leave and you immediately left, I don't think you would have had a problem. But man, when you stayed and you had somebody else come do that and they wanted you out of the premises and you stayed on and you're affecting your worship, you could get some time.
Okay. Simon says that Joe Biden pardoned his whole family.
Hey, I get it. I'm not making up any excuses for him. I don't think you should pardon your family members.
Okay. I want to ask you in regards to Donald Trump's whole situation with Epstein. Do you think that this is going to have a major effect on the midterm elections?
I think it is going to have a major effect on the midterm elections. I think the Epstein is going to have a major effect on it. I think the relationship that looks to be there between him and Epstein is going to affect people. But I honestly think this attack or this war that he started, I think that's going to have a bigger effect. And I think ultimately people are going to feel like Mr. Trump is overstepping his bounds of power. He's not letting the Epstein files be released in their fullest. He is going to war when he wants to go to war without even talking to Congress. He is doing whatever he wants to do when he does it. In a government that runs on checks and balances, I don't think a lot of people understand that. I don't think that's going to go over well in this upcoming election. And I think the red party, the Republicans, need to get ready for a blue wave because even Texas, we're outvoting Republicans in early voting. In every major municipality, an area outside of Collin County, which is Plano, and there's only a 600 vote more Republican votes than Democrat votes in early voting. And so all the other urban areas where you're talking about Bexar County, you talk about down in Austin, you're talking about in Houston, Harris County, you're talking about Dallas County, you're talking about those major counties with huge population centers. The Democrats are outvoting Republicans in early voting, and that had never happened.
Okay. We have W12. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's awfully kind of you. It says that Anwar, a U.S. citizen, was killed in Yemen at a restaurant by the Obama administration?
I don't know about that. It just depends, and I would like to know what that particular individual was doing. We just don't know what the particular individual was doing. He may have been doing something he wasn't supposed to do, and caused himself to lose his life. But we shall see.
Okay, Simon says Nancy Pelosi admitting fault in January the 6th, and Trump said protest peacefully.
Come on, y'all. Let's not let's not try that. And that's the thing that I try to do. They wanted them to delay the changing of power. And when they said no, and when Penn said no, he literally sent those people to go and do something to his own sitting vice president. Let's not try to retell history. Let's not play games. Let's be honest. Those are the type of things that anger me when we start having these conversations.
Okay, thank you very much. Stella says like, share, and subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thank you, guys. Simon says Iran had nuclear capabilities to hit the U.S.
Come on, man. Let's be honest. Even if they had any nuclear weapons, they were not being able uh, to travel far enough to get to America. And even if they could, they would get shot down even before they got anywhere near us. So let's be honest, they don't have those kind of capabilities.
Okay, Simon says it takes 60 votes to pass through the Senate.
I get that, but they never sent anything to try to pass when it came to immigration reform, and they control the ability to be able to get bills on the floor. The Republicans do because they have a majority, and they did not do that. So that's the end of that conversation.
Okay, Allison says they love Trump.
Yeah, they do. And, some people love Trump. But, I don't understand. If you want to love him, it's your right to do that. But it's not a feeling for me with him. It's more of my common sense telling me if a guy's going to lie to me, guy's going to be dishonest to me, guy didn't pay his debt and doesn't pay his bills, I'm not going to support that person.
Okay, the deep fake has a message for you there, Kevin.
Attorney Johnson, you are correct. Stop enforcing in other countries working hours. And from these attacks, we may suffer a terrorist attack. Oh, we're gonna suffer several terrorist attacks. They're not going to. We're going to try to stop some of them. We're not going to be able to stop all these terrorist attacks that are going to happen. This is going to be of high concern. We're in trouble. Somebody said released 3 million files, heavily redacted, and out of 3 million files, there was probably another million that they didn't release. So they released the weak stuff. They released the weak Kool-Aid and hid the strong Kool-Aid. So that's just my opinion on that.
Okay, Eric says highest incarceration rate in the world. You need some help, bro.
What do you mean highest incarceration rate in the world? America, our country. At the end of the day, it's one of those things where you got to really start thinking about what we're doing in this country and how we're doing it. At the end of the day, once again, let's not distract. The Epstein files are still not released. Ghislaine Maxwell is over sitting in one of those club feds, not not really a hard time doing federal time. She's literally been placed in a minimum security facility, and our president just fired an attack against Iran in the Middle East, and now Iran is literally shooting weapons and missiles at 5 or 6 different nations. And so let's just be honest. Let's look and see what's going on here, and let's just tell the truth about it all.
What do you think President Trump's main objective is in going after the Middle East, Iran?
I think it's oil. I think it's to show how much power he has. But I think he has miscalculated what he's doing there. I think that even though other countries may not like Iran, but other Middle Eastern countries understand one thing: they share a faith, particularly being Muslim. In addition to that, they could say today it's Iran, tomorrow it's us. And that's the concern. That's going to be their bigger concern as opposed to bowing down to Mr. Trump. They're going to say, hey, what if you do us like that?
Okay. Allison says we are not at war. Duh.
Okay, so why American soldiers over there dying right now?
Okay.
And somebody said Trump hysteria is fascinating. It's not hysteria when you have people that are dying over there when he wouldn't even. even serve our country in the military. They always call him General Bone Spur because he couldn't serve because of the bone spurs. So let's just be honest. I mean, you have a lot of power to be able to say we're going to attack a country, but you didn't fight for this country when you had the opportunity. You're not over there losing your life or having mothers lose their kids behind something that's probably not worth it. That's just what it is.
Okay, TJ says, blood hungry America.
And I think that can be said to a point. There are some people who feel that way, or Americans, that they can be a little on the blood hungry side.
Okay, Allison says, saving countries and freeing people is not being unhinged.
You know, I would try to tell people, man, what if they don't want to be saved? I'm going to be honest with you. What if they don't want to be saved? And when you try to say you're going to save America and free people, and when those same people say death to America, they don't think that you saved them. Let's be real. You have people out in the streets shouting death to America. Come on now. Let's be honest.
Okay, there's a comment directed towards you.
You're a lawyer. The releasing of the Epstein files is not something Trump has control over. The federal judge that presided over the case was, which is why a bill has to be passed for them to be released. Come on, y'all. If he wanted these things released, he could have gotten it done. He could have ordered his Justice Department to do it. He could have ordered certain redactions and make sure that all of it was released. Don't play games with me. You know that's not true.
Okay, Sassy Mo says, every American now has a lifetime target on their backs worldwide. You know, I went to Dubai. I'm about to go to Egypt. Man, what do you say about all this?
Oh, Mel, you're brave. You're really, really brave. And I'd be afraid to get on a plane right now. I'm being honest with you because I just think that when you mess with them folks like this, and I'm not afraid of them, I'll fight. But I'm just saying, these folks, when you go after them like that, they're on a whole nother level, man. They'll blow up a whole plane with them on it just to kill a number of us. That's a different level of crazy.
Okay, Joe has a comment for you.
Yes, don't spare rumors. We are not at war, just taking care of business. You must be a Democrat. No one cares what your opinions are. Well, you're actually watching my opinion. Number one, we are at war because people are dying. Number two, and at the end of the day, whether I'm a Democrat or not doesn't really matter. I'm just telling you my opinion on what I think has happened. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can agree with it or not agree with it. I may not agree with your opinion, but you have a right to have one. And once again, hey, we welcome you here, man. I'm not mad at you. Keep on coming. Keep watching our show. Keep watching my opinion.
Okay, guys, go check out the Deepfake Reports channel. I shared something yesterday. Really nice channel. Great support to this channel.
Thanks, sis.
She says, you haven't listened to how Trump talks and review the actions and the effect us as Americans, and Attorney Johnson is right in my opinion. Tell it, sir. So you have some support there.
Yes, and that is true. Where there's a lot of ways that we're going to be affected, and you're not going to take out an Ayatollah, and then these folks are just going to give you a hug. They're not going to hug you. They want to slit our throats. They're screaming death to America. You have activated the entire Middle East by doing what you just did, and we need to be honest about what just happened. He's not freeing and liberating those people. A new Ayatollah has already been installed. He's already in control. And there's no way that you think that those people think that America came riding in on a white horse and is helping them and they're okay with it. No, they're screaming death to America, and we better be extremely careful about how we move from this day on.
Okay, Claudia is responding to you in regards to former Prince Andrew.
No, he didn't get arrested for that. He got arrested for improper use of governmental papers. Well, I will tell you this. At the end of the day, yes, he did get arrested for improper use of governmental papers. But with that being said, he lost his title because of the situation with the Epstein files. And there's a lot yet to be open in that case against Prince Andrew. And we're going to find out soon why he got arrested to the fullest of the extent. So just stay tuned. We're going to see what's in there.
Okay, Eric says a poll said 50% of the Republicans don't care if Trump was implicated in Epstein. They don't care.
They probably don't care. But if you don't care about kids being molested by grown men, then something's wrong with you. Then you're as sick as the person that's doing it.
Okay. Murray says, but it's the judge Obama appointed that wanted names blocked and certain files closed.
And I think that when you look at this particular situation, there are a lot of victims out there. There are a lot of people in high places whose names may appear who didn't do anything with Epstein, but their name may be in the file. So that's a very delicate situation. But with that being said, release all the names. Let's take a look at it and see who's on there.
Claudia says the files, where was the outrage 5 years ago?
You had these files for 5 years. I know you've gone through them. I know you've seen everything. What's the outrage? I think that probably, like I said before, there are probably people on both sides who will be implicated, and I think that was the holdup. But once Congress said to release those files, that should have been done, and that was not followed. Let's be honest.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What do you think is the best way forward as we're facing these wars around the world? We're also having issues going on in Mexico. Americans are being trapped there. Americans are trapped in Dubai.
Listen, man, we got to start thinking about things long term. What did you think killing El Mencho is actually going to get us? And I want you to think about that for a minute. Some people think, oh, he's a drug dealer, he has to go, and you shouldn't let him exist in there. And what it has created is a all-out drug war over there in Mexico. The cartels and their different factions are actually shutting down roads with burning vehicles. They shut down the airport. Nobody can fly out. So you got that going on in Mexico. You just took Maduro not too long ago. You got ICE agents shooting people in Minnesota, and you just dropped bombs in Iran. This country is in complete chaos and turmoil. We need to quit acting like everything is okay. We need to quit acting like everybody's celebrating for the Iranian people. No, I don't care about that. We need to start dealing with our business over here in America. We got unemployment that's on the rise. You got AI taking all these jobs. You got healthcare issues that people can't get coverage. We got problems in America. We need to be fixing that. We need to be cheering, fixing that. We don't need to be going to other countries and getting in the midst of their business.
Okay. Patriot says they've been saying death to America for many decades.
Of course, and then they didn't stop saying it now when we attacked. So why did our president come on there talking about they gonna love us? No, they don't love us. They're not gonna ever love us. They're not gonna ever have the love for Americans like they do their own people. And they're not going to be, cultish when it comes to Trump and just run up and hug him because he did this. No, they're going to want to go hard against him. And if they can take him out, they're going to try to. And that's unfortunate because he has led us down a path that's going to have dire consequences.
Okay, Boricua says in Times Square here in New York today, Iranians were screaming, "We love Trump."
They may have because maybe they had to run from their country and run from the situation over there. But then once again, that's not our business. We got a lot of things over here in America that need to be fixed. And this president told us that he wasn't going to put us in wars in the Middle East, if you forgot. But I guess y'all forgot that part because anything that he says that he doesn't do, y'all forget. And anything that he does that the Democrats don't like or somebody else doesn't like, you support. It's just a shame in America right now.
Okay, there's a comment there from Cicely.
Don't trip. Iran fought to a stalemate against Iraq. So based on that, the fact that we can all agree Iran is really no threat, we are doing Israel's bidding. We probably are doing Israel's bidding, but they are a threat. We have a lot of military bases, and that's what I'm saying. You cannot be closed-minded, cannot be short-sighted. There's military bases in a number of countries that they can actually hit with missiles. There are relationships with other countries that are going to be affected by the fact that we chose to attack these people. You got to be, you got to be honest. Is it Trump bashing? No, it's not really Trump bashing. When he does something like this and feels like he can do it without telling anybody and not understanding the cost that is associated with doing it, it's not really Trump bashing. It's a critique. And sometimes critiques are going to be good. Sometimes they're going to be harsh. And this situation is harsh because that's what's needed. That's just kind of how it is. It's not, oh, he's Trump bashing. He hates Trump. It's not the situation here. I think it's a very unpopular war. I think it was very unpopular that he attacked these folks. And I don't think it was a smart move. I think it was actually short-sighted.
Okay, Sassimo says they don't have money for health care, but they have money for war.
Bingo, that's what Americans are saying. They don't have enough money for food. They can't make it. But we're fighting a war where we're going to spend billions of dollars to fight a war to liberate other people, not Americans. Let's liberate Americans from not having insurance. Let's liberate Americans from homelessness. Let's liberate Americans from starving. Let's liberate Americans from not being able to pay their bills. Let's do some liberation here.
Okay, you know what's amazing is if you go back and you play Marvin Gaye's record, What's Going On,
Never changes.
never changes, right? Why do you think that's the case?
I would tell people that I can go listen to two people, Marvin Gaye and Donny Hathaway, and some of the stuff that they talk about in the 60s, I could sit down, play their music right now, and the same thing's going on in the world. And it's timeless music. They're telling the truth because what's happening in this country has been happening on repeat. And to be honest with you, I think that a lot of what Trump said to a lot of people sounded good. And I can understand why it sounded good to those individuals. But when it comes to implementation, to be honest with you, let's be honest, Trump has bankrupted several businesses. The last time he was president, he got voted out because there were issues. So let's be honest. You got to be honest about that particular person's performance and critique to understand what's going on in America.
Okay, Claudia has a message for you.
You just proved our point that you can get there, that no one took any rights away from you. I don't understand that. You just prove our point that you can get there, that no one took any rights away from you. I don't know. Maybe she meant to say something else.
Okay, Chalm says they need to go and get the people before him and jail them too.
I don't know about what they're talking about. That what they mean the people before him. He basically attacked Iran and didn't ask anybody. Didn't tell the Congress. Had an opinion about it, and just went out and did what he did, not understanding the number of relationships that can be affected by what he just did.
Okay.
Somebody said, why was Al Green removed doing the State of the Union? He was displaying a sign just as others were exercising First Amendment rights allowed to stand in applause. I think they have a thing about signs being in that chamber doing a State of the Union, and I think he violated that. I don't disagree with him. He was telling the truth. But my deal is, like I said before, Trump calling us apes, I don't like it. But with that being said, I don't let it affect me because I don't really care about his critique of me and my people.
Okay, Paul says we need Donald Trump to repeat the same thing in Nigeria.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they said he did something in Nigeria and bombed on behalf of Christians, but I think that's a lot of that's a lot of that's a lot to say that he did that for them. Someone said people all over the world are begging Trump to remove their government and take over. Whether they beg him to do it or not, that's not our job to go in other countries and take over and take care of their business. Because when you start fighting wars over there, you start spending our tax dollars. Our tax dollars need to be used to take care of us. Somebody said attorney anger management or angertainment. Hey, I get it. At the same time, I know that when I have these conversations about Mr. Trump, that some people are not going to like them. Typically, when you're a sycophant for him or you strongly support him, then that's what you're going to say. And I definitely understand that. Like I said, when he does something good, I say it. When he does something bad or that I think he's short-sighted, I say it. But it is what it is.
All right. How many white farmers were murdered in South Africa? That's asked by Patriot.
I don't know, but that has nothing to do in America right now. So I'm talking about what just happened here.
Okay. Jigga says Israel was always and forever.
They probably are. It seemed to get a lot of support from America, and it seems like America refuses to put limits on how well we are going to go with Israel. And I think that we just went on a fool's errand.
Okay, Claudia has a message about voting.
I wonder why. I wonder who really is trying to take control of the midterms by telling low-income people and Black people they're too stupid to get an ID. Why? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by this statement. Let me see. America is a land of the hardened idiots, MAGA fools. Well, some people definitely feel like that. It's just like, um, no matter what Mr. Trump does, some people are going to say he's genius, he's smart, he has the right to do it. And I think a lot of people are incapable of actually honestly critiquing him. And now so, which means there are going to be good things that I do, the good things that I don't do. And so you got to be able to say it when it happens. But there are some folks that are unable to actually critique Mr. Trump and actually criticize him when he needs to be. And I think that's a concern when you're talking about him and the people that follow him. There's no standing up to Donald Trump. Trump is standing up to you with your false information. There is standing up to Trump. If I saw him in my face right now, I'd stand up to him. I wouldn't be afraid. I'd look him dead in his eye, and I would tell him what I thought. And I think that's what every American should do. You a man, he's a man. When you see a man, you look him in his eye, you tell him what you think, and you stand your ground. And that's what I would do if I ever ran into Donald Trump. I'd tell him what I think.
Okay.
The Epstein files were sealed by a federal judge. Trump didn't have any control over the release of the files. That's why they had to pass a bill to release them. You're a lawyer. Let's be honest. Come on now. Y'all know he has power to be able to figure out what to tell his Department of Justice to do, what can be redacted, and how he controls how that happens. And that's why I said what I said. Let's be honest.
Okay, very good. So we're down to maybe one or two more. We reached our time, so I'll let you take on Cicely here.
Reparations will come, but it will be for all races that were enslaved. If you don't include white people, the majority, then it will not happen. It's not going to happen at all. I don't ever see anybody giving people money for reparations. And I'm not saying that I don't support that. So I want people to go, oh, you're against reparations. I just don't think it's realistically going to ever happen. That's just my attitude about that. The first 48 hours, PEMA police did a horrible job. I don't know what that is about. I think I'm talking about Nancy Grace. I think they probably did. I think they probably could have done better. I get that. You're right. In the desert lies the answer. Got to get ahead. It might be true. I mean, out there in Phoenix, out there in Arizona, there can be a different kind of thing out there. What's the next comment? Nobody else making comment. If Trump ain't Satan, then nobody can prove that Trump ain't Satan. Oh wow, that's interesting. I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm concerned about his behavior and his dictatorship type behavior, and that's what I have concerns about. The deep fake report says, great answers, Mrs. Johnson. Once again, thank you, everybody, for those who have made comments that are supporting Trump. Hey, I get it. You have every right to do that. We have every right to criticize him here, but it's really not personal. It's not personal at all. You know, I want you to have your opinion. I'll go ahead and have mine, and we can have a conversation about it. And we actually encourage you to tune in next week. Even those who did not agree with me, me and Mel want to rock out. We want to have real conversations. And so even if you're a Trump fan, not a Trump fan, I hate him or love him, come rock out us on our show.
All right. Thank you very much.
Different voices, but the same song. Living a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the flame remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beat as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. painting the night. United we stand.